Good morning, Flosstube. Hello everybody. Hello all my creative friends. My name is Margaret and this is my Flosstube Maggie Lou Stitches, and thank you for being here. Also thank you to my new subscribers who've come along to follow. It was from my enormous whip parade, I know. You know, it's quite funny because as a Flosstuber and a cross stitcher, I know that I have minimal projects. And yet friends and family who aren't cross stitchers and don't watch Flosstube have all commented on how many projects I've got going at the moment. I'm like, I know, it's a lot for me. And I've got one more to add to it this month. Yes, we have a new start. No finish. Oh, I do have a little finish this month. I have a little finish this month. So why don't I begin there? I'll show you my new finish, which is also my smallest project. So maybe we'll go from small projects to big projects. Okay, so for those of you who've been here for a while, you may know about my Ink Circles album covers project. This is Earbuds by Ink Circles. This is my finished project that has all little album covers, which I covered in a previous Flosstube, but I might. So that's my new finish, is that I created a new album, and it's a very important album, and it goes right in the middle here. I put it there, not that you can see it there. This, well, it's a logo more than an album actually. It's kind of everything. I'll just bring it in close, see if it'll... This is Arirang by BTS, which for all ARMY, we know this is very exciting. This represents the fact that BTS are about to release a new album called Arirang in March, and they'll be doing a very long and extensive world tour as well. And so this was the logo that they brought out and gave us for Arirang. Confession, I didn't do a very good job with this. Like, stitching backstitch essentially to try to make circles on 40 count fabric on a tiny little bit of fabric, because it was just an offcut, was very difficult. Let me just say that. And look, I don't say that to be self-critical actually, it's fine. But I thought it was gonna look better. So there's my new album cover. As I think I said, I would like to get this full of album covers. It's just that not all album covers lend themselves to a tiny little reproduction. But anyway, I was still happy with that. I was very excited when they released that, knowing, oh, I can do another BTS album cover. And it's very meaningful because they're back. So let's continue on the K-pop cross-stitch crossover, shall we? And let's start talking about my next project. Beautifully gifted to me by Marie from Stitching Is My Happy Place, which I still think is one of the best names for a channel. That's an Instagram, Marie's Instagram page. Anyway, where is it? Right here. Okay, and so this brings us to a BTS lesson, because of course you're all going to learn who BTS are. I'm sure you all know. I'm sure I'm talking to ARMY fans of BTS this whole time, I'm sure. Okay, so last time I had finished Kim Namjoon, stage name RM, and now I'm up to Kim Seokjin. Same last name as RM, but Seokjin is his first name and his stage name is simply Jin. So we have RM and Jin. And Kim Seokjin is the oldest of the group. And he is known as Worldwide Handsome. Mostly because he is, but also because an American tour, I can't remember the year, but years ago, an American journalist sort of coined him that, saw that, sort of said, that guy on the end, he's not just handsome, he's worldwide handsome. And Jin took that and ran with it. And at any opportunity, he introduces himself as, "Hi, I am Jin, I am worldwide handsome," which is quite funny. So that's how I'm coming along with that. I'm loving it. I actually really enjoy stitching on it. Doing RM and watching how the face and the features come together. Of course, you know, we talk about this because I'm actually looking at my stitching through magnification lamp. So, you know, I'm just looking at big stitches under the lamp going together, and it takes a while before I sort of pull it away and get to see it. So all of this stuff close up through a lamp doesn't look that great. It looks a bit splotchy and a bit like, how's that gonna, and then you pull it away and, oh, I'm an admirer. Yes, I'm an admirer. It's BTS. Speaking obvious. So that's that. I hope for next time to have a completed Kinsock Jin to show you, and you'll then all know RM and Jin. Because that's what you're here for, really. I know it. Staying on the monochrome, I think we'll go to my pussycat next. This is going to be my Charlie. What we have here is the tail, basically, coming up in front of the face, and a little bit of the lounge cushioning. So, you know, there's a pussycat tail. I love even the shaping of the tail. I really like that. So yeah, that's the part that I've done. So that's my little Charlie project. It's going to come along soon. Look, all of these projects are going to get a big injection soon. Once I'm finished my full coverage, which is coming soon. I'm not finished it yet. I'll show you my progress in a minute. But there's a part of me looking forward to when, because I give that is my focus project. So I give my full coverage butterfly more stitches than anything else. And then the rest come along. And I'm kind of looking forward to when it's out of the picture. And I can see a lot more progress on these as well. Although I must admit, I am happy with all of my progress at the moment. You know, I'll talk about that a bit later. I have been thinking about progress and time frames and finishing goals and obsessive stitching, and I've just been reflecting on that a fair bit the last month. And look, maybe the planet's, you know, in alignment for us to do that, because I noticed in Ebony Stitching with Ebony Stitches, she talked about that in her last video as well. Yeah, I noticed she talked about just actually wanting to stitch less to make sure she fits other things in her life. And I've been thinking about that a bit more. Variety and balance is what I've been thinking about a bit more. There was another new Flosstuber whose channel, you know, first Flosstube I really enjoyed, and I'll put her name here. And she said with her cross stitch, of course, she wants to stitch all the time, like literally, but she said, I try to practice more self-care than just following my impulses. And I went, oh. I mean, yes, I do that too, but it was just such a good articulate way to put it. And that has helped me think about that a bit more when I just want to sit and stitch hour after hour to meet goals, to get progress. Calm down, you know. We all say it's a hobby. Okay, chatting all over the place. Let us go to, I think we'll go next to the one with the smallest amount of stitches in it. This is Angel of Condolences and Remembrance. And let me show you the picture. This is what she will look like when she's finished. You know what I hate more than seeing reflection? When you just see the dirty fingerprints on an iPad. Anyway, there she is. So that's what she'll look like when she's finished. Now, I have tried again, I really tried really hard to convince myself to do this on a black fabric and just stitch everything that's not black. I tried really hard to make myself do that. And in the end, that was not the way I decided to go. So I think I've got 23,000 stitches of black to stitch, and this is my start. So I actually think I might colour complete with this. I might do all the black first. I don't know. Don't hold me to that. But yeah. I am using 12 weight Sulky to do all the black, and I'm going to use DMC to do the other colours. This is my first time using Sulky on 25 count easy grid, and I really like the coverage. It's better than DMC, particularly DMC black. It's got a very light coverage. So the coverage of this is just solid. I love it. It's going to be a lot of black for a long time. I think I might deviate to another monochrome project that I was going to talk about later, but let's go there now. And that is Zentangle. We're going to take a quick subject break, a little intermission from our cross stitch. So in my last video, I talked about the fact that I hadn't been doing any of my Zentangle drawing, that it had kind of gone by the wayside a little bit, and maybe it was going that way. And when I was editing the video, I kind of watched myself say that and just went, no, I'm not going to let that happen. Like I don't like that I was allowing that to happen, because Zentangle drawing does offer me a different type of meditative Zen than stitching does. Like, of course it does. It's a different medium. So I got back on it. So I'll show you where I was last time with this Zentangle Opus tile in progress. And then with a few more sessions, I've gotten further on it, and here it is now. The good thing about Zentangle is they're multi-directional, so I don't know which way to show it to you. It's far from being finished. I've got a lot more tangling to do. I've certainly got all of the shading and highlighting to do as well. But this is where we're at, and I am really glad that I didn't just follow my impulses to just go, well, I've got some time, I'm going to stitch, that I remembered. I think one of the things is too, I need magnification and light for this as well. And I just have the one magnification light set up on at my stitching spot. And so when I'm going to Zentangle, it just means unscrewing that light and bringing it out to the dining table and hooking it up there, which is where I do my tangling. And you know when there's just one little thing in the way? It's like I could sit and stitch and I don't have to move my lamp. But to do Zentangle, I have to move my lamp. So I quite often go, I won't worry about that. As if it's not even a big deal. And yet I can let that get in the way. So I've had a chat to myself, and it's like, Margaret, take the 2 minutes to move the lamp back and forth. So that's my Zentangle in progress. Let's see where it goes from here. Really enjoying it though. I usually, when I'm cross-stitching, I listen to lots of things. I watch a lot of Flosstube. Second is audiobooks, and third is music. But when I Zentangle, it's usually always music. It's really lovely. It's a lovely space to be in. So, and it's a different level of progress, seeing progress as well. I mean, I did a couple of 1 or 2 hour sessions on that, and it's coming, you know, to completion. 1 or 2 hours on these projects. I mean, I can pick smaller projects, couldn't I? But I don't. Okay, let's move on. I think now we'll go to a new start. Yes, new start. Now, this new start was from another, I must admit, I love January. There was a flood of whip parades and first Flosstubes, people starting their Flosstube channel. Oh, I did a lot of Flosstube watching in January and really enjoyed it. And one Flosstuber that I really enjoyed meeting, her name is Rachel. She's the Nutmeg Stitcher. Oh my goodness, how fascinating was this? She has decided, she's one of those cross stitchers that has 2 hobbies. One is cross stitching and one is collecting patterns for cross stitching. And she said she just came to the realization that she just has more patterns than she can stitch in a lifetime, so many, and that she's always buying more, and she just decided to stop and only shop from her stash. But that doesn't mean if she feels like a new start, she's just going to go and pick one and see what she's going to do. She's like, no, if I own it, I'm starting it. She is doing, I mean, tens of new starts every month. She's starting everything she owns and finishing a lot of stuff as well, old stuff. Like she's just going, right, enough. This is all going to get done. It's really, we're seeing a lot of patterns there and a lot of variety. Samplers, full coverage, smalls, older vintage projects, brand new ones, really very enjoyable. Now, anyway, so I was watching her channel and there was just one project in progress, a whip, that she held up and I just went, whoa, what is this? I need to have it. And that doesn't happen to me often. Normally I'm like, what is this? I need to put it in my wish list and look at it 20 more times before I decide. This one, oh my goodness, this is Tall Birds by Durene Jones. I love this. And honestly, you should see Rachel's progress of it. I think the whole thing's about 2/3 completed. It's the color palette of this I absolutely love, and the design elements. I love, can I describe it? I love the inversion that's happening with the little motifs. How they're half one color with one background and half another color with another background. I just love this. So I just bought it and had to start it straight away. Fortunately, I still had some 32 count lavender even weave from a previous, from my Ink Circles Earbuds project. I must have bought a lot. This is my start. I'm starting with the middle bird. Obviously, I'm starting with the border first. But what's interesting about that is that little bit of blue that I've put in. I actually had a very productive day where I stitched the whole line of this, and honestly it was looking so good. I just sat back and just went, I think this is my favorite project ever, which is of course the statement that you say about everything you start. And then I'd finished all that and realized I had put the wrong contents of a box in the wrong border. So there's 1, 2, 3, and I had started the border for number 2, and then when I went back to fill it in with the contents, I opened up box number 1 and started filling that in here. And it looked so good. Part of me was like, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to swap the boxes. And I just thought, you know, when you start a project with fudging, you start it by doing something different, and then so for the rest of it I'll have to remember that box 1 is going inside border of box 2 and box 2 is... I just thought, no, I'm not going to do that, which meant frogging all this out, which gave me a new distaste for frogging. Oh my God, ripping out cross stitching is not enjoyable. And this was pretty easy because it was just one straight color. It was very easy to follow back the flow of it and still. So that's an annoying start, you know, when you have such a good start and then you go, so it sat off in the naughty corner for a little while because I didn't really want to look at it for a few days, and now I've got to start going again. So that is Tall Birds by Durene Jones. Right, on to, let's go to Blue Tobacco now, which is Sampler 124 by 2x2 Stitch on a 32 count Belfast linen in the colour Tobacco. Tally. She's whacking her tail on me because I'm moving too much while she's on my lap. Okay, here we go. This is the progress I've made so far. In my DMC 797. And now, because I didn't show a finish, which I mean, yes, I'm going to. Gosh, it's actually getting really hot. I try to film as early as I can in the morning so I don't have the air conditioning on because of the noise of it, because the air conditioning is just above the camera. But I just remembered that it's summer. Whew. Anyway. Or maybe it's just that Charlie just got on my lap and I've got a hot little pussycat sitting on me. Okay, so this is the finished product. So from what I just showed you, as you can, you know, I'm right just in this middle square. I'm just sort of filling that out. And I decided that I was going to work this from center out because I didn't know how I'd go with this. And I thought, if I don't like it, I can finish it. I can complete a section at any point and call it done. So that's why I'm sort of doing it symmetrically, and we'll see how we go. The other thing is, look, I had a bit of a... Last month I also redid the maths on this. I'm going to have, I've got heaps of border top and bottom, but on the side I'm going to have about 1.5 centimeters border. It's going right out to the edges. And part of me was like, stop, Margaret, think now. Think about future self who wants to frame this or who wants to finish it in some way. Those borders, maybe don't do this, maybe. And I thought, again, I tried very hard to convince myself to stop. And in the end, the part of it went, just stitch it. Just do it. Don't worry about it. Maybe you won't even complete the whole thing. Maybe it'll be a smaller project than you think. Maybe all this stuff. I just thought, just shush, stitch, enjoy. So I don't know what Framing Margaret will think about that later, that decision. Anyway, I'm still loving it. I do love the colour. Oh, there, it's showing it really well. Yeah, when it sort of gets a shine on it. And I think, like I said last time, because I'm always looking at this through the magnifier and the light, the shine that comes off that blue as I'm stitching it, oh, it satisfies my heart. So that's what I call blue tobacco. All right, moving along. Oh, let's go to my niece's project. This is for my niece Amy, and this is called, oh, thank you, Charlie. That's going to be big. Oh God, she fell off the chair as she tried to climb on. She's getting old. Oh, I know. You sit there, darling. There we go. Gosh. Right, where were we? Here's a picture of what it will look like when it's finished. There she is. I think she's quite lovely. And this is my progress on her so far. Again, another one I'm going right to the edges on. And I must admit, getting that face in makes all the difference. When I was just working over in all of the hair and the hair adornments, it just felt like just splodges of just, what the heck am I even stitching? So I purposely sort of moved over into the face to get that done. Big fan of her eyeshadow. Good eyeshadow, floral boho girl. I think that looks very good. So I think, I haven't been saying any percentages. I think I'm at about 15%. No, yeah, 20 maybe of this. And I think she's coming along great. This is on that 28 count, wait, it's written on here, Watercolour. The Modernist's Spring Watercolour by Flair, that has those delicate colours that I'm sad you can't see, but to be honest, the more I stitch on it, I can't see it either. One, I'm covering up most of it, and two, it is so subtle. Okay, I've actually got two more things to show you, and one is my final full coverage, my butterfly, and I've got a story to tell you about this, and I'm going to show you a biography after that. I haven't talked about my biographies yet. That's what I do for a living. I am a biographer. Anyway, I'll wait, tell the full story. Okay, where am I at with butterfly? First of all, let me show you the finished, okay, this is what butterfly will look like. This is Stained Glass Butterfly 3 by Stitches So Beautiful. I am at, I can tell you exactly, I am at 92.18% complete. Gosh, I'm getting along. Now, as I've told you, I'm not going to show you the whole thing anymore because I'm going to give you a reveal. Probably my next Flosstube, I'm going to give you a real reveal. Having said that, like 92, whatever I've got left, 7 point whatever percent that is left, is still thousands of stitches, as you'll see here, right? So, you know, that looks like, I'll whip that up in no time. No, it will, it's not no time at all. That's a lot of stitches there. I think I've still got 8,000 stitches to do or something like that. So, but anyway, coming along nicely. She's still a joy to stitch, however. This is where my story comes in. So I started this on the 23rd of February, 2025. And at some point a couple of months ago, I thought, oh, I could, I'm going along at a pace of this where I could try to finish it by the 23rd of February, 2026 and just, yay, finish it on a year after I started it. And I just decided, oh yeah, that's fun. I'm gonna do that. So I had to set a stitching goal. I think it was 350 stitches a day to make that happen. And that was fine, except that also coincided with me deciding that I liked a lot more variety in my stitching. So starting new things. But that was fine. I was zooming along on my 350 stitches a day or thereabouts on my daily stitch goal. And it was maybe burning me out a little bit. Just, it felt a bit like production stitching, like going to my factory job every day and just, you know, gotta reach my quota. And then I had a look one day at my, the info on Markup RXP, and suddenly I thought, oh, I started it on the 23rd of March, not the 23rd of February. So I'm actually driving myself to finish a month earlier than I need to. Well, I just relaxed then. I thought, in that case, I'm ahead of the game. I can just take it easy now and just finish this at ease with just doing whatever stitching I want. Obviously, my daily stitch quota was a lot less then. So I took a few days off and I did some other stitching and I did some other stuff and it was really good. And then it was maybe a week later, I went back and looked at it and I don't know where I got that information from because I clearly started it on the 23rd of February, not the 23rd of March. In fact, I can't even find where I got that from now. So I suddenly went, oh, well, if I'm still going to reach that goal, now I'm behind because I took that time off because I thought I was there. And then I just went, stop it. This is ridiculous. What does it matter? And I've said that before, like, again, back to that, like self-care versus impulses. There's an impulse that says, yay, let's finish this within a year. And there's something that I get enthusiastic about that. It's fun, yay, I don't know, and I want to follow that through. But watching me enjoy my stitching a little bit less because of it, is that a smart way to go? So anyway, I then had to really think about it and I did a lot of reflecting on my relationship with deadlines, pursuing goals, particularly deadlines. I have always said I am not someone who likes to work to deadlines. If I can possibly avoid it, I will. Now, when I used to work for employers, when I worked in office situations, that was often difficult because you kind of have to, and I hated that. And I would often question deadlines. I go, this isn't really important. This isn't really urgent. That might have gotten annoying. But once I started working for myself, I tried very, very hard to communicate to people who work with me that I don't consider anything urgent. I try very hard. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy it. So I want to see progress as well. I want to see my biographies coming along. Okay, let me now go on to that. So while I was reflecting about this, I was thinking about my relationship with deadlines and how I approach them in my work and how I try to treat nothing as a deadline. And I remembered one biography client that challenged that in me. I mean, obviously I'm working with a lot of senior aged people and there's a temptation to sort of go like, better get a move on. They're elderly. And I'm like, no. It's no. And I am very happy to say nobody has ever moved on while I've been in the process of doing their biography because I make a deal with them. I say, listen, while we're doing this, you can't go anywhere. until it's finished, and then it's up to you. And they laugh and say, well, I'm going to try not to go anywhere. However, there was one that challenged that, and I thought about Arthur, and I thought, I'm going to introduce you guys to Arthur. Here's the biography I did. I'll show you in a second. This was a long time ago. I did this back in 2009. I met Arthur in 2007. Arthur Hartley. Now this was, I'm just going through pages, and I'm going to show you a photo of Arthur. Here he is back in his professional day. This is Arthur Hartley. Adventures in Education. Now, let's get some light on Arthur. I was commissioned by Edith Cowan University to write the biography of Arthur Hartley. He was their oldest alumni, and they wanted to recognise him. And it was such a good story because by oldest alumni, what that meant was in 1926, when he was a new immigrant from England to Perth, he studied to become a teacher, and he studied at Claremont Teachers College back in 1926. And Claremont Teachers College then later became part of Edith Cowan University. They sort of took on Claremont Teachers College. And Arthur was 101 years old when they commissioned me to write his story. And so to my point about, here he is, let me just go. This was Arthur sort of when I met him. This was his wife had only fairly recently passed, I think within the year before I met Arthur. Oh, get some light on them again. So, you know, they're like, you know, we want to commission you to write his biography, which means, of course, going out and meeting with Arthur and having him tell me his life story. And I was like, oh, absolutely, this is fantastic. Except my heart skipped a beat. I'm like, 101 years old, I'm going to have to hurry. I can't tarry with this one. I can't take my time and make sure. I thought, oh my God, deadline. I mean, excuse me for the inappropriate use of that word. Or is it the appropriate use of that word? I don't know, but I was under some pressure. Let me show you Arthur as a little boy. Look at this little guy. 1906 he was born. So I did go out to the retirement village he was living in, which he'd only been living in for less than 12 months. Honestly, what was this guy going to be like? Well, he was amazing. He was amazing. He was articulate, organised, engaged, involved in the project, charming. He was a lovely person to work with. And he put a lot of thought into this, and he had photos gathered for me. And when I asked him questions about his childhood or about his coming to Australia, he would think about it and he'd say, now, I'll tell you my story, but I'll also pass on to you an article I wrote about this in 1963 for a magazine called blah, blah, blah. Like, yes, please, you do that. Let me show you a few more pictures. This is Arthur's school days. Oh. How fun is my job? It's really fun. Arthur's in the... So there's his siblings. Arthur's, this one. Okay, I'm not going to show you all of this, but Arthur was a cyclist. The cycling he did around London and then around country Western Australia when he got here was amazing. Oh my goodness. Let me just see if there's any other photo I just really want to show you, even though... Here's his family. Here's his family. His wife and boys. Absolutely lovely. Let me just show you working Arthur. I think working Arthur is adorable. Adorable. That sounds very condescending. But he became headmaster. Here he is. He's headmaster, Arthur. He had a very successful career in education. He was an educationalist through and through. He was a beautiful man. Now, I needn't have worried about how long it was going to take, because I think, you know, we completed it within, let's say, 18 months or 2 years, and he went on to live to 105. And I remember thinking, even though there are lots of other things to consider, like health, wellness enough to keep working on the project. You know, when I would give him my drafts for him, he was a proficient editor, and he kept it very tight, and he kept it moving along. So, you know, he was just so wonderful to work with. And when we finished the book, I had them all bound. There's a beautiful bookbinder here in Perth who does this beautiful leather and gold embossing and marbled paper binding. And I worked with him for years, and that service is no longer available here in Perth, which is it's really sad. Anyway, so I did a book for the university. Obviously got a copy. All of the Hartley family received copies that went into the State Library of Western Australia. Like, it was never for sale in a bookshop or anything like that. It was, but it's out in the public domain, so it's okay that I share it here. I've done sort of close to 50 biographies, and there are some clients I know that would be thrilled if I shared them here or in any way, like that would really thrill them. And there are some that I know that'll be like, why are you talking about my book? So you know, Arthur's one that I know is okay to share. So there you go. That's a little peek into the life of my biographies. So like I said, reflecting on deadlines and, you know, the rush to do all this stuff, Arthur's always a reminder to me, even when you think you have to rush, you don't. And even if he had have passed while I was working on it, well, so be it. Like, then I'd have to work under those circumstances. There is another one I'll show you one day, who is a biography I wrote of somebody who had passed. And at the time I was saying to the people commissioning me to do this work, I was saying, it's not really what I do. I like to base my biographies on oral histories. I meet with the people, they tell me their story, but then they handed me boxes of this person who had written so much about their life, their diaries, everything, and I got to interview all the people who knew him, and it was an amazing story. So actually I will share that here one day too. So I'm not going to rush with my cross stitches anymore, that's what I'm saying. And particularly now that I'm up to 90, what did I say, 91, nearly 92%. I was showing you, that's all right, it's all right, bits at a time, but never not the full thing until the grand reveal. But everybody's life circumstances are like completely different. What our work commitments are, what our family commitments are, what our health commitments are, all of that means we have different stitching capabilities. But either way, I've been reflecting on obsession, goals, deadlines, and I'm just trying to go chill as I start more projects, because I'm still going to be doing that. Okay, yes, that's it for today. Thank you. That was good being able to share all of that with you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate everybody watching and coming and saying hi in the comments. And now I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. Happy stitching. Go and enjoy your stitching. I am going to go and enjoy mine. Whether it's slightly obsessive or whether it's completely chill, I will still enjoy it. That's what a lovely craft this is. Okay, be well. Until I see you next time. Bye.